Hello, I'd like to welcome all back to Mario Paper of Mario 3 Lands, which is also known as Super Paper Mario to some people, but I think that this is a better version of Super Paper Mario because it doesn't have very enticing villains in it, which I don't prefer to see in my Mario games, and that's a Buzzy Beetle. He should be called a Busy Beetle, but he ain't doing much, how ain't he? I'm gonna take the upper route and the lower. I think I'm gonna take the upper route because I'm a smarmy bastard, and we still got the fraps issues for some reason, which tend to occur from some reason. I don't know why I shut off every other thing, so it's either fraps or the fact that my computer is a little too old to be doing this stuff, and I remember there being a jukebox block somewhere, which apparently has vanished. It's kind of... Seriously, I can't run this. I know it's a laptop, but you got enough gigabytes in your DRAM to do all this fancy stuff, you know, that Mr. Laptop computer thing. Oh god, I forgot about you, didn't I? Yes, I did. I completely forgot, which is why I ran into him without having any intention of running after the guy. See, in a game like this, you have a lot more to talk about because you keep running around and collecting stars for magical blocks with all the fellas in the background. They want to give you applause, but they're just a little too tied up being fancy green hills in the background to really be giving you much of an applause. Hey, it's the end block. I don't know what makes it spawn. I think it's whatever you complete a level with a certain time bonus left, but it could also be something with magic. Mario standing with one foot behind the other. You see that? He was standing like a smarmy bastard back there. Let's go be cheating bastards with this one, because why the hell not? I dislike minigames, I really do. I don't like minigames in every sense of the term. There's a reason I always skip the miniature and the games and all. I always skip minigames in Legend of Zelda. No matter if I get a heart piece or a magic mumbo jumbo for it, I just don't want to do the goddamn minigames because they're so annoying. Now, I always failed at this because I was a fucking stupid little boy back then. I was so dumb I couldn't know the difference between a pizza pie and a pie pizza. It's kind of stupid, if you think about it. Oh, back in the days, how long ago you were. I don't know why, the game's really not running at the frames it should be. I could record this at half resolution because technically speaking, we're not using all the pictograms on the picture screen, but wouldn't really do much for me anyway. Jeez, man, that's some thrilling, exciting music right there. I never really got why they got coins and items and all the fancy jazz and all the spibber jabber and the booba joop and all the blitz and the blitz blitz and the blitz and the let's pray. Let's pray. Let's pray of radio game older for everybody. Oh geez, I remember that in the Mario Wii's you could pretty much get all the item things in the background because it was all set patterns and really didn't take that much, and if you press the X button you get all the fancy items I just cheated my way into, but I'm not going to use them. I'm only going to use them on the mid-bosses, you know, the magic hammer bro with his hammers of steel and his gullet of magic, and the reason being that I don't like fighting them without a power-up or two. And I always thought this Mario looked kind of herpy-derpy dumb because he's got that... Did I read... No, I know. Oh, you can't pick him up by walking on top of them. You gotta walk next to them. That's a detail I never noticed because typically I didn't fucking bother with the Magic Koopa shields because This constant fraps hiccup is starting to work on my nerves to the point that it makes me want to vomit up a nice big old Hershey-Bursey jar, even though I never had any Hershey-Bursey jars because I don't live in America. We don't have a vast majority of the candies and licorice you people tend to scoff down your throats every fucking day of the week. I probably should be refraining from using swears, so this could be a little more child-friendly, but then the question is, do I want to deliver a child-friendly product, or do I want Dick Cheney? I'll tell you this, I'd probably want neither, because they don't sound like something I could sell to the majority audience out there, because most of the children out there don't come to the YouTubies to see things they could be doing at their homes on their Magic Dancing virtual consoles these days. Because these days, you could emulate your mother, and that's pretty damn fancy. You're gonna get a life anyway, because this game's pretty sweet, and it says, hey, you tried your best, kid. You completed 3 levels, here's a free life. Go take that to your mom and say she looks pretty enough. I'm gonna use a mushroom, because that should be enough to finish off one of these mumbo-jumbos. Oh, jeez, it's a brother with a hammer, and he's gonna hit me in the head with it. Oh, look, he gave me a power-up himself. Now I got a Fireflower with the cost of a mushroom. And I got a Magic Mumbo Star, which isn't that great, because it runs out after a short period of time and really doesn't do all that much for you, because typically when it runs out, you ran out of star power and you can't do much with it. It's not that fancy, I can tell you that much. So let's pick a box, because that's what Toad tells you to do. And the Toad is this... He has this weird thing where if you walk to the right of him, he'll actually turn around, despite the fact there's only 23 blocks or something to the right of him. He still turns around because he's a swell kind of guy and he likes to keep eye contact with the people he's ripping off. Shouldn't be making that save state, but then again, I'm not exactly in the threat of losing all my lives. Oh, it's terrible! The king has been transformed into a snaky snake, and he's swirling around the place like all fancy-dancy, like Tom Clancy with those big ol' eyes. Would you get the magic wand back so I can give him a good old bedtime story with that fancy crown of his? I think a bedtime story would be nice, Mr. Toad. I think I'll get you that magic wand. So it takes off, because apparently you're like 2 seconds too late, which is kind of weird. And then the anchor's like this little old thing on the side of the fence, and then there's like, oh Jesus, cannonballs, which don't give a magic flooper jooper about your fireballs, and there's all the thunder in the background. There's bullet bills going at the speed of sound right there, because they go kaboom like they're breaking through the sound barrier. Wouldn't recommend going through the sound barrier though. It's pretty painful. From what I heard, you break your neck, you break your paws, you break your fancy toes on that thing. Mario's got his hands always stuck on his side of his shirt like he's one of them fancy dancy people from ye olden days, and that cannon's kind of wonky because it only shoots out of 2 holes. Despite having 4 holes, it only shoots out of 2 of them, probably because of sprite limitations back in the NES days. Despite this being an SNES title, they could have figured that out, but look at these cannonballs. Don't give a flying mumbo jumbo about my fireballs. They're like, hey, I don't give a magic flying mumbo jumbo, kiddo. And then we fight the boss, who's probably gonna kick my ass because I'm not that smart of a guy. I miss the brain cells necessary to talk like a normal living human being, so... Oh jeez, it's this guy! He's got a magical cane, and he's gonna jump around like a mumbo-jumbo man! And then he's gonna be like, oh jeez! Oh jeez! And they're gonna be like, oh jeez! I missed it. Oh, I suck. Now I gotta pick it up on the floor, which means I'm gonna have to... I don't want to do this. I want to go home, Daddy. Let's go home and have a blast. Let's go to the lobby. A lobby's a nice place to be. Now I gotta pick up the wand. I gotta fall down because apparently this magic wand is the only screw in the entire station. So when I pull this thing out of the walls, it just sort of falls apart and vanishes into thousands of lumber, and everyone's gonna die because they get a piece of lumber on their head, which is the perfect way to clean up your lunch. Admit to that. You know it's true. Look at all those clouds. I always like this scene. And look, the king's suddenly a nice guy with a fancy monkey mustache and a big old open gaping maw with a nice fancy big gem on his head. This whole thing of heavens must show itself again. I got a letter from the princess that's addressed to you because the postman in this land is kind of sucky at his job. Greetings, you see any ghosts? Be careful, they'll give you chase, turn away. I'll give you a jewel that protects you. So this is kind of weird because it looks like a wing to me, Mr. Princess Toadstool. Or Princess Peach, as you're known in the later installments, because nobody really likes to talk to a princess who's actually a toadstool. Which is actually a stool for toads, in case you never bothered. And I'm getting burpy again. Can I scroll the map? I can't scroll the map, which is not very fancy. I'm gonna see you guys next time. We're gonna do a level 1 of World 2, which is full of sand, as you can see. There's a little oasis over that's really fucking fancy. Oh jeez, I need some oxygen, preferably now. Unfortunately, I won't. See you guys next time.